Let us spend some time with today's Gospel passage from St. Mark, chapter 12, from verses 18 to 27. This Gospel passage teaches about the power of God, about our vision of life in this life and in the life to come, the life of the resurrection. And this Gospel is also about the difference, what it makes to have this faith and not to have this imagination of faith. And the Gospel also can be applied to contemporary contexts. Let us start with the argument laid down in the passage. The Sadducees were a minority within Judaism. They were the only faction who did not believe in the afterlife. They were well known for their coarse manners. They were quite a hubristic, confident group. They felt superiority in their teaching. So when they approach Jesus and address him as teacher, is not a sign of reverence. Their intention is to mock him and to point out how wretched teacher he is. In the argument they provide a good deal of detail. The woman who married 7 brothers has a story to show how absurd the resurrection is, how absurd and meaningless it is. Their argument was based on the scriptures, paradoxically, on Moses. They highlighted only certain parts that, according to the law of Moses, which is the highest authority, a man has one wife only and is not allowed to divorce. So marriage is about between one man and women. And they set it up in contradiction with the situation in the Gospel that the woman who was married to all resurrects with them and tries to continue the same married life, so whose wife she is. The Gospel shed light on this thinking that it's a matter of fact that there is a denial or the refusal of the afterlife. Some argues that the idea of the resurrection is a kind of late development within Judaism from the time of Solomon. However, from the beginning, in Scripture there are important references that they believed in the resurrection of the dead. Abraham's sons will be resurrected. When Jesus answers their question, he punctures the bubble at once. Because you do not know the scriptures. That's why you come up with such an absurd questioning. The Old Testament plainly teaches the resurrection. So with this, Jesus answers to this hubristic, self-confident group that you are abusing Moses' own words. Your thinking is absolutely foreign to Moses, because Moses never said in the Old Testament we never read that the other world has the same conditions, that in the resurrection the same conditions prevail. So the Sadducees, and this is the point when we can apply it to our present day situation or contemporary contexts, the Sadducees cannot imagine that there is a resurrection. They can imagine only this world. And if something like that the dead are coming to life, happens, it will be a continuation of this life. So it's a kind of a restricting of God's power. Jesus points out that totally different conditions prevail in the coming life. We don't know its laws exactly, but it's based on our present life experiences, but it will be totally transformed. Today there is very little talk, even in the churches, about the afterlife. There is very little use, if we are honest ourselves, of our faith imagination, religious imagination, which is just thinking over what has been revealed. What are the causes? Interesting question, but there is no time to ponder on it now. But we are influenced by the mentality of our age, which in subtle ways but comes up with the same approach like the Sadducees. There can't be afterlife. And our only chance is to extend this life, improve our life conditions, or revive this life and perpetuate it forever. We can be assured that if humankind somehow could engineer bodies which would never die, it would be put into practice. But this approach can be also deployed in a fresh context as a form of present-day Sadducees. I just wonder if there is a mileage in applying it to two things. First, this is the argument of Satan, which denies life with God, which denies the continuation of life with God, and consequently denies afterlife. It's a serious warning. But also, on the horizon there is the rise of similar expectations and approaches to God. Now that the world is thrilled by artificial intelligence, this approach is going to grow, that it is only this life which can be continued and perpetuated forever if artificial intelligence help us to engineer eternal bodies. So there is a denial, a growing power field of denial of the coming life. And the rise and application of artificial intelligence in human hands, and then separately, it can be something satanic and dark, uncontrolled, which is about this life and the denial of the possibility that there is another type of fulfillment than producing perpetuated, extended human intelligence which lives and survives in the realm of artificial intelligence. So, not being dark or too dualistic, But we Christians should pay attention to what is real. And we have to keep away from our worship and liturgy. That technology, that use of computer technology, chat GPs and whatever, which are on the rise now. Our liturgy, our worship must keep its time of grace. We can call it biotime, the biotime of grace. And we should even actively resist and be in revolt of this new atmosphere and climate of distraction. The age of artificial intelligence is not simply about the age of superintelligence, but the age of super distraction, which is distracting us from the one true reality, God, and the life, the afterlife, how human life continues with Him in the resurrection.